And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry we have to interrupt all that Wordle action. We all know that you love Wordle more than watching me and a new on stream, but there is lots of magic to be played here in our Timeless Open, where we've got just over 90 players turn up to all battle it out to try and get themselves not only into that top 8, not even that first slot, but really they want to play playing off against Mr. Mason Clark, our big bounty at the end of today's tournament, where essentially more people can be winning money if you manage to take down our Goliath Juggernaut end boss bounty. I guess that's where I finished that one off. But we're going into round 2. Round 1 is done. It's in the books. It's done and dusted. We've seen some spice out there from a couple of our Creator Clash colleagues that we invited last week to ballot out. They've come back this week trying to either do one better or retain their crown, showing everybody that you can't beat me. I'm a content creator. Obviously, you watch my stuff. I don't watch you. I'm here to beat you. I'm here to destroy you all. Well, of course, all the heroes are turning up. That's you people out there. Turn up, trying to destroy these content creators. Out. Philippa beat her last week. Easy money. Took it all day long.
All right. I'm ready for some magic here. So, producer, hit us with our first feature match here, and then show us what else we got here. I'm kind of curious to see where we're going to be going. We might be watching one of our creators again. We might not be, but once we find out what the match is, I'm good to go. And I'm seeing a glimpse of Natural Order. All right, so we'll be watching Philippa one more time here, playing Selesnya Titan. Now, Philippa won the last round against Grixis Death's Shadow, but it looks like we have the Titan mirror match, and so this is going to be mono green against just Selesnya.
Yeah. I don't know how this is gonna pan out, but we're gonna find out together one way or another. Remember, this is a community organized tournament, so there's going to be a bit of there's a couple of hiccups here and there, and obviously me and Anu doing the TO's job behind the scenes while casting as well. So if we do go quiet, don't get too scared. Anybody, we're going to we're not going anywhere. We are going to be stuck here, bringing it to you. As now we're looking at this tricky mulligan decision where we've got the ability to start explosive. And we've got some real big end game. We're missing that kind of middle chunk here for Philippa. Decides to put her land back down the bottom, starting off with a Once Upon a Time. 3 spells are pretty good, Anu. I hear that. I hear they're pretty good.
Yeah, 0 mana to get this level of consistency could pick up something like a Primeval Titan, could pick up something like a Castle Garenbrig, whatever it is that will flesh out your hand here. Looking at Philippa's hand, by the way, I do see the turn 1 Arboreal Grazer coming down from both sides. Okay, good to know. I do think the acceleration is going to be critical here, but what Philippa is actually missing, I mean, I see 1, 2, 3, and I count now 4 lands that we've drawn here for the turn. I'm lacking a way to get to 6 mana yet, just literally due to the sheer lack of land. So I guess the plan is just draw into them.
Well, that's quite easy to do in a deck where half of it is land, but it is straight up a race. Who can get Primeval Titan on the battlefield, and then who is going to have the more Field of the Deads? That tends to be how it works out, and who can get the first attack phase in, who's got more fetch lands to trigger end step to generate more tokens. It can be very, very big. I suppose who can also go over the top? Who has got something like Crater Hoof in the main to go over that game 1? Can we use it? At the minute, I would say Natural Order is going to be a big card in this match. Getting out a turn 4 Titan, where at the top of your screen there with Alaxrix, I think I'm probably butchering that name, is able to power out a Titan, but decides to go Natural Order with a green creature, sacrifice it. We can now go find a green creature, and of course, that is going to be prime time itself with its ETB effect of go find 2 more lands. One thing to note, we already have 2 lands on the battlefield of the same name. So Field of the Dead is going to be slightly worse here as we move forward. So now we got to start thinking, what lands do I generate? Personally, I think I would go for the haste lands here with red mana. Something like a Stomping Ground plus red mana, because then I can potentially, if I top deck another Primal Titan, I can give it haste the same turn I cast it. We decided to go with Field of the Dead plus the haste land, no red mana currently. But pass it back to Philippa. She's going to fetch end of turn. Have a little look in her deck, what she wants to go get. She gets herself a Stomping Ground.
I guess this is kind of crazy thought here, but there is, in theory, a finite number of zombie tokens you can make, right?
Yes. So that's what the more Field of the Dead you get on the battlefield early, when you start getting the triggers, the more lands, the more tokens you'll generate with every land drop. If it's one of the last lands you find, and you only have potentially 1 in play, and it's say your your 16th, 17th land drop is another field that you're not going to have as many tokens as your opponent, being able to start off with their 7th and 8th card both being Field of the Dead. So it is kind of reliant on what you search up and how your deck kind of plans out. But here comes a Primal Titan dead on when we need it. But again, only going to be 6 lands in play. Now both players are entering that sort of phase of attack phases, generate more tokens, and how we're going to go about this. How do we block? Personally, I'm always trading Prime Time for Prime Time once I've got my 7th land. But in this scenario, I think Philippa might just have to take a hit.
Yeah, this is also really interesting too. I mean, just from a like planning perspective, right? Like I think the reality is like once Primeval Titan is in play, it is going to be basically who can continue the churning out of lands from the Primeval Titan effect, right? Like you want to maximize obviously on the Field of the Dead here. So this means that we are going to be forced to attack. You see here coming in, Primeval Titan probably going to pick up another couple copies of Field of the Dead, but then also thinking about what happens the turn after and the turn after and the turn after, right? So how consistently can we get not just the first copy, but multiple backup copies of Primeval Titan into play? That has to be the game plan here. And you can see Philippa is prepared with a second copy of Primeval Titan, trading hers with her opponents correctly. I like that. And oh, this is Titan of Industry as the follow-up. Okay, that's pretty sick.
So looking at Philippa and how she's set up, she can now play a Primal Titan and give it haste in the same turn. The problem she's got, well, maybe she can do 3 in a turn now. The problem she's really got is there's a 7/7 on the battlefield, so the attack isn't great. All it would really do is she's going to generate us another 7 mana. You see here, they're looking at the auto tapper. How is everything going to tap? She does not want to tap that battlement. She wants to be able to give the creature she plays haste. So she's going to have a little look here, but it's trouble. Going to generate another 2/2 zombie. I wonder if we can go Primeval Titan, give Primeval Titan haste, generate a bucket load of 2/2s. Next turn, use that natural order to go get ourselves a Creator Hoof and one shot. Be interested to see how she wants to go about this.
Yeah, I was actually literally just about to mention that, right? So there is a copy of Crater Hoof Behemoth in both players' decks, and that might be the actual cheat sheet shortcut in order to sort of just ignore the board state, the board stall. It is going to require a couple more creatures here from Philippa's side. That might even just mean taking a little bit of extra damage here from a couple attacks, creatures coming in this way. But oh my god, yeah, look at all these Field of the Dead triggers. Next turn, just go ahead and sacrifice the Arboreal Grazer, and I'm sure you have like Omega Lethal with what 8 zombie tokens in play.
It's kind of like now attacking gets a little bit worse because Prime Time's obviously the creature you want to be attacking with. A Titan of Industry is great as a utility green creature, but doesn't really generate any more value now. Now it's just a 7/7 with trample and reach. We've got no ways of flickering it. We've got nothing crazy we can do. It is definitely there as a utility creature. Ideally, you'd want that to be a Primeval Titan so you can get extra triggers, get more zombies on the battlefield. But it doesn't really matter. We're going to a game. We're going to a game 2 as we're going to get everything +14 trample, game over. And we said it, right? We said that's what it's going to come down to. But Philippa had a way to go find it. Oh my word! Minus 102 damage. GG's. Going to game 2. Going to game 2. I think we're going to see game 2 and 3 kind of plan out like that, right? That is how these games are going to go.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question. I can give you an analogy, but I know in Legacy, for example, back in the day when you had the Elves mirror match, very similar vibe with Heritage Druid, Mana Dorks, and Natural Order as your payoff with Crater Hoof Behemoth. A large portion of that matchup really just depended on who could get onto the battlefield first with their power card, right? Now, in this situation, I got to ask you, Will, is this matchup going to play out the same, where it really just depends on who can put the first Primeval Titan into play, or is there more nuance where you need to have not just one effect, but multiple effects?
If both players are turning and burning and both players are able to pit a Primeval Titan out the earliest turn possible, then it's kind of a stalemate. Then it's going to come down to the secondary plan of who's going to be able to natural order into a Creator Hoof and have a board state for it. So in that instance, you're like, well, do I attack my creatures into my opponent's creatures to reduce the amount of creatures on the battlefield in case they have a Creator Hoof next turn, or do I wait to make my own Creator Hoof better but potentially lose to my opponent having the Creator Hoof? It's going to be a mind game. It's going to depend on what's in the hands for both players. In that turn, we saw, it had to be Creator Hoof that turn, or Philippa's going to Creator Hoof back and win the following turn. So
I have some critical questions for you.
I guess we pan it down to that game was decided by who was on the play.
Yeah. All right. Here are my critical questions. Ready? The first critical question is, well, more of an observation, but Philippa is playing Selesnya Titan, which does mean that she actually has access to 2 copies of Swords to Plowshares in the sideboard. So when we're talking about layers of threats coming into play, having a little bit of interaction in the form of Swords to Plowshares seems really interesting. But the question that I wanted to ask you was, there's a copy of a card called Weathered Runestone in the sideboard here for our Althariax. And what I want to know is this the kind of card that makes sense in this matchup? So I was reading the text of this card, and maybe I've misunderstood this, but Weathered Runestone says non-land permanent cards in the graveyards and libraries can't enter. Oh, so land. Never mind. Okay, I take it back. Lands can come in. Wait, that's such a strange interaction that I had not thought about. So Weathered Runestone actually works brilliantly with Primeval Titan and poorly against Primeval Titan.
Yeah, it's very normally in that slot you kind of see Stone Brain,
Mm-hmm.
but deciding to go a different route, maybe decide maybe there's gonna be a bit less combo floating around in this tournament, especially it being bigger with over 90 players turn up. But look at this game here. We're on path for a turn 3 Titan here from Philippa with that natural order. And remember, both players know each other's deck lists. There's very limited removal between them, and that's if they even decide to bring it in. I think it is going to be on a straight race, and currently it's kind of tight, and just being on the play is going to be key. Yeah, that's interesting for Philippa. I think we're playing it no matter what. Yep, and we're going to go get a Titan in our hand, but we can't play the Titan next turn. We don't have the we don't have a castle Lockwayne for that, or the Citadel to really generate the power out. Well, on the other side, we do have the Citadel. We are just a castle +1 away. I think Philippa is going to be able to get the first prime time on the battlefield.
Yeah, and if game one is any indication of this, then I think that is going to be the kiss of death, because it gives you the first instance of Field of the Dead, and with the second Primeval Titan, or even heck, you can just natural order for Craterhoof or something like that to really just get lethal in. I'm going to be very honest with you. I am wary that this game is just going to end in a couple turns.
That's kind of how well, I guess it would depend on which side of the battlefield you're on, how you want it to end. But now just go in prime time, sack this, get another 2 lands on the battlefield, which I'm not entirely sure which 2 lands I'll be going with in this scenario. I'm just having a little think, because we've got prime time this turn. Maybe I'll be getting the haste lands this turn. So next turn I can play Primeval Titan with haste. Let's have a little look. Looks like she might agree with me. That's the Hasteland and the red source. Yep. Love it. We're entwined. You can tell that we do a lot of casting together. No attacks. No point attacking the 1/1 into a 0/3. Once upon a time, end of turn, it needs to be big. Needs to be a way to get our own prime time on the battlefield. Remember, we can only get creatures and lands. We couldn't find potentially like a natural order off this once upon a time. That would be going going to the bottom of the library. It has a slight downfall to this card, but we see the powerful Craterhoof in hand.
Ooh.
We're a little ways off casting that, but now that we've got the knowledge that it potentially is going to happen, Philippa really has to get her skates on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there is any sort of counterplay to something like Craterhoof Behemoth, because with the cards that we have available to us, I mean, Swords to Plowshares will do a good job at stopping the Craterhoof itself from attacking, but the ETB trigger does apply to everything else on the battlefield, and that means that the damage is still going to come through, because if you have enough Field of the Dead tokens in play, like, I mean, it's violent, right? And you can see here, right? It just feels like impending doom. So we're gonna have to see if there's something special that Philippa can maybe put into play here that can
Nope.
maybe end the game this turn.
I think well, with this turn she gets to not only have an ETB of a Primeval Titan, but she also gets to have an attack trigger from a Primeval Titan. So I still think she's super favored currently, because next turn the Primeval Titan is going to come down, but the damage is already going to be done. Now look, every single land is generating 12 power. Attack, 2 more lands in the battlefield. That's 24 power entering the battlefield. Like, I just don't think we've got a way of catching up here. There's no sweeper effects in these decks. It is very much a combat-based deck. And even in this show, you're not attacking this 6/6, which means next turn I'm going to attack with 2 more 6/6s, as well as 13 2/2s. I think we're going to be going to a game 3 very shortly.
Okay, yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised by it too. I mean, maybe this is just the nature of this matchup, where it's just like, whoever goes first, They're the ones that will be severely, significantly advantaged. The other thing to note is that Creator Hoof, there's the concession, right? Creator Hoof doesn't actually give your creatures haste; it only does give them trample. So even if Althariax was able to put in additional copies of zombies from Field of the Dead into play, like I mean, just like I'm hypothesizing here, what that turn would have had to look like, right? It would have had to look like Primeval Titan, get Field of the Dead, make a bunch of zombies, then Crater Hoof. But the problem is that those zombies can't even attack. And with 26 points of toughness to block, you need to have a lot of zombies in play for that Crater Hoof to really, truly be effective. So going into game 3, are there any notable cards here that you would switch in and or out? I feel like the answer might just be no. We solitaire to our heart's
That Field of
content.
the Dead is in this matchup. I'm fit. That Field of the Dead in the sideboard is coming in. I
Okay.
You need more Field of the Deads than your opponent has Field of the Deads if the game goes long. But we know about Crater Hoop, and we know that it's stayed in, which is for obvious reasons. I'm not super big on the Cityscape Leveler. I don't think that it's a great threat, but just taking one permanent off the battlefield isn't great in
Well,
this matchup.
counter argument. What about using something like Cityscape to get rid of your opponent's Field of the Dead? How do you feel about that?
I do like that interaction. That is a nice interaction, which is probably making me sound pretty dumb. Thanks for that. Yep,
Yeah,
I
salute.
think
I got you. I got you. Don't worry.
no, I like
Um,
that. But then it's the same argument of just bringing in the extra Field of Dead, right? Like you need more Field of Deads than your opponent.
yeah.
But apparently chat says it's non-land, so I feel even more bigger brain and you look dumb now. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, I set my caster up for greatness in all scenarios. Love you, buddy.
Chat's got my back. I love you, chat.
hold
Appreciate
up,
it.
hold
Thank
up.
you very
It's
much.
like I'm just going to chat. Ban Twitch chat. Okay, did that work?
Yep, everyone in Twitch chat is gone. This is a great opening hand from Philippa. 2 mana accelerants and a Primeval Titan. This is the sort of start she needs to kind of catch that turn up that she'll be behind. Over on the other side, with am I saying this right? Laflax or Alpharex?
Althariax, yeah, Althariax.
Theriax. Okay,
Yeah,
Theriax. I apologize. Look, I butcher names. It's part of the charm. Okay, it's part of the charm.
yeah.
We're mulliganing down to 5 cards. This has to be a phenomenal 5 cards because Philippa has got the explosive start that she needs. She's got the turn 1 Burgrader. She's got the turn 2 Cami. That's going to be 4 lands. Going into turn 5, turn 3 could be up to 5 lands in play. Potentially, if we get a castle, which she hits off the top, that means a Titan's going to come down extremely soon. This is the powerful play that, as you were speaking, as early as turn 3 and 4, Titans hitting the battlefield. Huge in the mirror when your opponent's mulligan down to 5.
Yeah, I'm also kind of wondering here too. Like, if you have mulligan down to 5 on the play specifically, there's no turn 1 acceleration here from Altharic. So the question is what is there even a 5 cards hand that could get you like Primeval Titan on turn 3 or 4? Maybe,
Yes.
but what about turn 3? Is that possible?
Yes, you can go turn 1 Abundant Grazer, turn 2 land, turn 3 natural order. That's what I would have as a 5-card hand with,
Okay.
of how crazy that could be. Doesn't look great here. Obviously gets cast once upon a time for free because it is, as long as you've your first spell is once upon a time, you can cast it for free. We didn't do anything turn 1. I guess that is what we drew this turn because that's what would make sense. Otherwise, you'd cast it turn 1 to try and either hit potentially an untapped land or something like your own a bundle Grazer or Cami to try and get 2 extra lands on the battlefield. But you see here, Philippa on the draw, already a land advantage up because of a bundle Grazer. It looks just like a normal 0-3, but in these decks, it is basically Time Walk. I said it out loud. Come at me.
I don't know if you know what we call that? We call in the business we call that will math. Yeah.
Will math. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Any promotion is better than no promotion. Is that what they say? I don't know what they say. All I know is what they say is Cami is a pretty good arena-only card for not only the reason we're seeing now, being able to play an extra land drop for the turn, but its channel ability. Not going to be too relevant in this matchup. Philippa just deciding where she wants, lands and how she wants to sequence it all. Here comes the cave. It's not going to matter, but I think I would have. Okay, we got a little bit of a disruption here. Our producer showing you behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. A lot is going on behind the scenes.
Wait, but this is it, right? Do we
Ooh.
just we actually were able to get the turn 4 Primeval Titan. So I mean, if we have another Primeval Titan for a mulligan to 5, this could be
Yeah,
phenomenally impressive, right?
if we have another Titan or another natural order in hand, we can see us undoing this mulligan to 5. And this is like the perfect, right? This is exactly what you need when you're on the draw, you're down cards, but more importantly, you're on the draw and you now have the first primeval on the battlefield. Now we're going to see the retaliation here from Philippa, who's able to go primeval Titan, go fetch up 2 lands here. I kind of think I'd go for 2 Field of the Deads. Oh no, you only can only get 1 because we've got the next land drop we've got is a Citadel off this Abundant Grazer. So it would have to be Field of the Dead plus 1 other, potentially the haste land, blast zone. It doesn't really make too much of a difference here, but we're able to generate a few more zombies on the battlefield, more zombies than 6 power. So we can now start using our zombies to block that primeval if it does get turned sideways. So real key what the play is going to be here. Is it going to be another primeval Titan? Is it going to? In fact, it has to be another primeval Titan, I think. Other than that, we're going to fall too far behind. Do we just have to attack and kind of, throw our Titan under the bus just to get more Field of Dead on the battlefield?
Yeah, I mean that might be the play here, right? Because you okay. Well, here we're starting with Sylvan Scrying, and then you make enough zombies. Maybe hopefully you leave yourself out to something like a
Oh, whoa!
wow.
Hold on a minute. What Westfield Abbey? Haven't seen this one being played in these lists.
That
This is
is
a
an
throwback to what standard 2016.
something like that, right? This is back when I like if I know this card from standard, it's old. This was like a deck that we would see like in green white tokens variations to summon Ormondal
Yep.
as like a flying life linking haste menace, and that works really really well with Field of the Dead generating upwards of 8-10 billion tokens a turn. Going back to my earlier point though, I think this play makes a lot of sense here. Attack with the Primeval Titan, get your 4 zombies, and then set yourself up potentially for either what we see here with this Westvale Abbey or something like a top deck Natural Order and or Craterhoof Behemoth. Those are basically like we have to get very lucky here in order to win, I think. And so let's see if the magic gods are here to support Althariax today in this round 2 feature match.
Hey, I'm Westfield Abbey might be the mirror breaker. That card being flying is huge in this. We don't really have any ways to block flyers besides Titan of Industry and Abundant Grazer. Indestructible and life linking is huge. We've got enough tokens to generate. That's great bit of deck building. That might be that, now we're going to like Mono Green Titan 2.0. That we're starting to, get these niche cards. I didn't even know it was in this format. I'm not gonna lie to you, but this is why I love watching things like the Creator Clash, watching this open, watching my favorite streamers. There's no blocks there as well. That's pretty key. I know Philippa's currently watching this, and I'm going to tell her that you should have attacked with Primal Titan before playing your land to get extra triggers that turn. But hopefully it doesn't come back to bite her. We're going to see how this pans out. More Field of the Dead triggers on the stack.
I want to see it. I just want to see. Okay, wait. Fierce Empath.
This could be a. Have we got enough mana for Craterhoof?
Wait. Okay, that's a Primeval Titan. Okay, I'm thinking because if we did, we have Castle Gerbrig. That's 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we may have been. Oh wait, that's Natural Order.
Ooh.
Is this lethal?
That's lethal. Oh my word. Well, that makes sense. But there's no blocks. That makes sense why there was no blocks on the Primeval Titan. And
oh, brutal.
What's your guess on the minus of life total? Quick.
-59.
Oh, we were this close to greatness, chat. We were this close. We were 10 off. If you know, you know. But unfortunately, Philippa taking the loss there in the mirror. Mirrors are hard. It doesn't really matter like how it plays out. And I don't know, a 5, by the way. I'm just saying. So realistically,
that's what makes it so devastating. There was a mulligan to 5, still had the turn. Was it turn 4? No, turn 3. Turn 3 Primeval Titan. I think it was Arboreal Grazer on turn 1. And I saw 4 lands on that. Yeah. And then just Craterhoof for lethal coming out of nowhere. So maybe I go back to my earlier heuristic where this is a matchup that's about discipline. You need to get your Primeval Titan online ASAP, and then also a little bit of luck. You need to be the first player, with your pistol out in the showdown, right? So I mean, mad props there for that game, and just goes to show you the power of a card like Craterhoof Behemoth. I'm taking notes here for sure.
Yeah, you just got to be a skilled gamer and win the dice roll. It's easy. That's kind of what it panned down to. And then there's who can get Primeval Titan on the battlefield quickest. Normally, the person that's going to go first. But don't worry, we've got more magic for you here in the timeless format in our open. So we're going to go straight down to that game there. I can see the opening hand being looked at, so we're going to move straight down to it. Our producer's going to sort it out. Hats off to our producer working in the background, and we've got a judge working in the Discord. We've got so many people going on. This is our first time trying to do the TO role. Normally, we could do the casting role and the production role, but now we're doing the TO role, trying to bring you these awesome community-led tournaments. And so, I imagine we're going to have more of these in the future. If you want to do that, you got to be following us on the socials because we are promoting the heck out of all these. We're showing you, what you can be playing for from not only just a set prize structure, but the more people that play in the community, the more we up the prizes. We're adding things like bounty players. We got a couple of players. We got Aspiring Spike, Doomwake, and Mason Clark. If you beat those players just in the Swiss, you earn yourself a bit of extra money. We've got the finalist, whoever wins today. After I think we've got 7 rounds plus cut to top 8. So whoever our winner is, they get to battle against Mason Clark. And if they beat Mason Clark, they win money for everybody from 9th to 16th place. So much stuff in here. We're trying to give back to the community for showing you supporting us. If you want to take part in these moving forward, there's lots of options to do that, but follow us on Twitter is probably the best way. Follow Anu, follow me, one of us, which dealer's choice. But you'll be able to, we'll let you know when we've got more events moving forward. Now let's look at these opening hands. I see a Blood Moon and 5 different sorts of land. Anu.
I am very fascinated by this hand here, right? So Deathrite Shaman on turn 1 makes a lot of sense. Turn 2, we are all in on Blood Moon. My Blood Moon gamers, rise up. Where are you at? Now, this is funny. This is okay. There's a lot of things to unpack here. First of all, Blood Moon in this format is very powerful. However, it looks like our opponent is playing Gruul aggro. So, I don't think the Blood Moon is going to be as effective as our Rakdos player is hoping for, leading off with that turn 1 Monastery Swift Spear. This reminds me actually of a game like way back when it was like Sneaking Show against Jund. Sneaking Show player goes turn 1 Blood Moon and then proceeds to lose against Jund. That draws into like Forest and Deathrite Shaman. So I'm quite excited to see how this game actually plays out. And wow, okay.
I'm just trying to get their deck lists up so I can have a little look, see if, what spice is going on. Because remember, this is a timeless format. This is a new just format in general in Magic, but it is already sort of chiseling its way up to be one of the more powerful in all of Magic, right? We get to play all these super crazy powerful cards that we've seen in the past, but it's some of the past, some of the present, some of the future. Nothing is too OP because it's got so many powerful cards. It's kind of everything's balancing out really well. Gonna see if I can get the second deck list up a second while we're going through it. It looks like, oh my god, I'm after the Gagari aggro. Aggro, of course, pretty close to my heart. And we've got scale ups in here. We've got which command is that? Atarka's command's going on.
Atarka's command is bloody, and you're going to notice here on the battlefield, Deathrite Shaman takes an unwise block here against a Monastery Swift Spear, meeting an untimely demise. And honestly, I one thing I kind of noticed here, I mean, it is open deck list, so maybe this, now that I'm thinking about that a little bit more, makes me want to potentially reconsider the effectiveness of our opening hand here with the turn 1 Deathrite Shaman, turn 2 Blood Moon. But the good news is that our Rakdos player is actually drawing out of this with Dash Ragavan that we're about to see. And I have to imagine there are a brilliant number of targets here that you can collect with this Nimble Pilferer, picking up a Skullscar Mage, and then there's a Fatal Push too. And now all things are kind of turning a millhouse here for the Rakdos player.
Well, remember that in the Creative Clash, me and you were talking quite a lot about, well, maybe just me, about the best 1-drop in Timeless. And I started on Ragavan, and probably by the time we finished, I was at it was Deathrite Shaman. Well, how about Swift Spear and Soulscar Mage? Which one of these do you think's best?
Ban the Will Hall EX. Sorry, my bad. Sometimes I speak out loud when I'm typing.
Whoa, it's fair. It's fair. It's a fair response. It's I'm good. I've got a good look at both these lists now, and I'm going to just touch on this to everybody. The Rakdos list is what you expect. It is Rakdos good stuff, but it is playing 4 copies of the One Ring, Shield Dreads, Lightning Bolts, 3 copies of Blood Moon in the main, Bowmasters, Removal Suite, things you kind of you assume it's going to be playing. But this Gruul list, this is, I say, close to burn aggros you can get with not only Soul Scarred Mage, Dragon, and Swift Spears, Eidolon of the Great Revel, Dragon Rage Channelers, Lightning Bolts, a bundle Harvest, which is
Okay, okay.
not something you tend to see, but again, it's another spell, so it's going to use Parish triggers. It's got free Jorel, which is of course the arena only free drop, which is extremely powerful if you haven't played against that. But 2 copies of Scale Up. We're so close to Infect being in this format, but we're just not. Like, come on, Wizards.
I
Just
love
give
how
me
you
it.
read this like bloody killer, just like absolutely pummel you into the ground, red green list, and your first thought was, yeah, but what about Infect? You know what I mean? Like a
Not enough.
classic, yeah.
I just need my Infect. Give me Infect. Any Infect gamers? Let's hear it in the chat. Let's hear it. I need to see it. Jarcell, yeah. So Jarcell is a interesting card. Arena only. It's a one colorless, one green, one red for a 3/3 legendary human wizard, which has starting initiative 1. So basically, in your pre-combat step, you can cast a card from your graveyard that is casting cost 1. As in, it could be a Dragon Rage Channeler, it could be a Lightning Bolt, it could be a Thoughtseize, whatever you want, as long as its CMC is 1. And then you put a counter on Jarsil. And then the next combat step, you can cast something with 2 CMC, like a mind blank, an Orcus Bowmaster. There you go.
There you
And then
go.
then you put another counter on it. Then you can cast something with 3. And this card's really great in these early aggro strategies of, you're gonna use your 1 removal spell to deal with this. And as we see Jarsil in hand, that's gonna get ditched. Blood Moon doing a lot of work making sure that doesn't come down. It is one of the more powerful cards that are arena only, in my opinion. It's definitely top 3. That's gonna tell
Okay,
you more
wait.
now.
This game feels a lot closer than I was really willing to give it credit for. So here comes Soulstorm Mage potentially into the red zone, putting opponent down to 5. Deathrite Shaman also making the Dragon's Rage channel a little bit weaker. I think the Gruul deck is super sweet just because it leverages prowess and surveil so effectively. But looking at the way that this deck has this Rakdos deck is sort of like crawling back into the mess of things, it really does kind of delight me here. And it was just okay, let's make sure we get this attack in. Here comes Ragavan, putting opponent from 5 down to potentially 3, but we snap up the block here, right?
I was about to say we're a lightning bolt away from lethal. We are a card type in the graveyard away from lethal because this Dragon Rage Chandler can gain flying. We're gonna exile the land. Okay, I kind of like that. That means 2 card types have got to go into the graveyard. Big draw step.
I mean, Ragavan even has
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
let's
matter. Easy gamer. Easy gamer.
let's go. Okay, all right. That's what I'm talking about. That's kind of the power of like this style of deck, right? This Gruul aggro deck is just that you just go face like a large percentage of the time, and yeah, just smash. I love it.
I'm kind of looking to see if there's any other outs there. Game 1 to do 3 points of damage to our opponent. It was basically a Tarkus command, which we couldn't cast, or lightning bolts, but nice and easy. Just draw a lightning bolt, you win the games. But we get an insight now of how sideboarding is happening, what we want to bring in, what we don't. I feel like I'd want that Molten Impact. If I know my opponent's just playing lots of weenies, just Molten Impact, again, an arena only card, it's got a real powerful effect. It's kind of a static ability, I would say, after you've cast it for your next spell. You can kind of get like another removal spell on top of it, almost like a double shock ability. A lot of the time, we see Brotherhood's End coming in, coming out. Like, this is where we got to decide: do I want to be the aggro now going into game 2 when I'm on the play, or do I want to kind of be more the controlling deck in this matchup? It's looking at the deck list as being an open deck list. I'll be like, oh, I'm the control matchup here. Like, I can't let my opponent keep permanence on the board, or I am going to lose the game.
Right.
But there's
So
so much
this is
fun.
where
Potentially, we're just gonna we have to be aggressive. It's gonna be interesting how it pans out.
I want to learn a little bit more about this card that you're talking to me about, Molten Impact, right? So as a paper player, mostly only
Mhm.
just getting into Timeless, this is a great learning experience for me. So Molten Impact is in the Rakdos midrange sideboard, and this card reads, oh, not Molten Collapse. Okay, I was thinking about the new card from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Molten Impact is 1 in a red, deals 4 damage, and if excess damage was dealt this way, okay. So it can save the damage basically for a later spell. I think that's pretty cool.
In a format full of like 1 and 2 toughness creatures, it's really, really good, right? I believe the only downside is it can't go face, or have I got that completely wrong? I haven't.
I'm literally reading the card. It says creature or planeswalker. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's its only downside. I think if it was go face, it would be way too powerful. But let's have a little look. See as we get down to game number 2. I kind of like keeping when I'm on the play. I'm happy to keep more lands in my hand, especially while I've got things like Fable the Mirror in my deck. And it looks like Aggro agrees with me. So we've got a turn 2 play which can deal with my opponent's turn 1 play of like a Dragonless Channer or a Ragavan. Then I can follow it up with a Fable the Mirror and get another creature on the battlefield / blocker. I can then ditch a couple of these extra lands in my hand and turn them into real spells. So yeah, I like this. Even though it looks on the surface as a 5-land hand, after turn 3 and 4, I don't think it's going to be. Molten Face Mockeras. There it is on the screen. Thank you very much, production. So everybody have a little reader. I suppose it could be instant just to make it a little bit better. But we're Magic players. We always want that little bit more, right? We want broken until it's too broken, or we want broken until my favorite deck is good in the format, shall I say? It'll push off the top. Great draw. And okay, this is interesting. Leading off with the Blood Crypt here, if we put it into play untapped, it's going to show signs that we've got, an Orcish Bowmaster or a turn 2 play. But that a Fatal Push off the top means that we can play it, not take any extra damage, which we don't want to do against these aggressive red decks. And then, turn 3, we can move forward. Here, I'd probably let the Abundant Harvest resolve, because now they can go, if they're land light, they can still go land. If they're creature light, they can go creatures, because they now know they're going to be at least one creature down because that Fatal Push is resolved. Mistress Bauble played basically every deck in Timeless. I pretty much think plays Bauble, but this is the downside to it. You get to Orcish Bowmaster in response to generate that little bit of extra value. Orcish Bowmaster, keeping the format healthy or too OP? What do you think?
I think Orcish Bowmasters is interesting. The dynamic of being able to punish draws means that players aren't just going to get to solitaire, but I also think it does enough to impact the board in a healthy way. I like the versatility, and I like that it is not like it's not like Chalice of the Void, which is like a stone cold close the door kind of deal. It makes a player have to deal with the consequences of their decisions, and I love that so much.
Well, we just seen Jarsil come down and get back a Marshall Swift Spear, showing the power of that card. You can see it's got 2 in its bottom left-hand corner. That means when we go to combat, if there's a 2-drop in our graveyard, we can return it to play. I don't believe there is, so it is just going to be a free. Currently, no target, so that ability is going to get skipped. But now there is a Eidolon of the Great Revel on the battlefield. It means every spell from both players that is CMC 3 or less, they'll be taking 2 damage to the face. And discarding 2 cards during Lightning Bolt Orcish Bowmaster means we're going to be taking some damage to cast our spells. But the downside to this, yet again, is okay, we kill Eidolon, we take 2 damage. Eidolon's going to go to the graveyard. With Jarsil on the battlefield, next attack phase, it's coming back for free.
Yeah, this is actually a really good showing here for Jarsil. I mean, I'm kind of curious what the I mean, the other option here is that you could instead you just bolt the Jarsil. Is that better? But then the damage you take adds up, and
Not with our hand. I don't think we can. Not when the other 2 spells in our hand are CMC 1 and 2. I think it's too much. We just decided to deploy everything and just 18 life is a pretty healthy life total. But okay, looking at your side of things, the only thing stopping us from getting extra damage in here is a Jarsil. 3 power and 3 toughness on this battlefield. It's kind of stonewalling everything besides the Orcamas token. But this could be a game changer. 3 damage to face, +1/+1 to everything, and reach, of course. But then we can cast it again from the graveyard, give everything +1/+1 and 3 damage to face, giving all our prowess creatures and 2 additional triggers, and then turn everything sideways. This is a lethal attack.
wait, this is like the do it at home Craterhoof behemoth.
Yeah, that is right. And we're just in chump blocking mode here. We're going to take 5, drop to 7.
Okay.
That means Hunter's Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt's only 4 damage here, so no, it's not lethal. But I think I'd do it anyway.
This is a little bit dicey. I'll tell you that much. I mean, the next draw step that we get here from the Rakdos side is going to be very, very critical. Ragavan, also, the attack is going to be very, very critical as well. Oh, and there's the Lightning Bolt. Okay, so never mind. This is big damage coming in right now.
6 damage, drops us to 6. I've got 4 opponents. You've got 1. Land off the top's not good. We're going to flip this. Now we're in the risky territory. No, hold on, we play our land first. Yeah, but say we don't take any extra damage here. We play the land first. We use castle, draw a card. That's a good one that can start gaining us life. But
if there's a card that could get us back in here, it is definitely Deathrite Shaman, but we need a turn of reprieve here. We need no burn spell. You can see holding back the army token there. This is close.
Okay,
that's lethal.
Rough.
That's lethal.
3 attackers, all wrong. 4 attackers, all lethal power. Yep, it's gonna be GG's here. Unfortunately for Uncle Ross, going to be taking the L this round. And yeah, this is a really cool aggro deck. I've been looking for like an aggro deck of choice. I haven't found one yet, but this might be it.
I think, yeah, and so we're going to see Gruul Aggro take this match down 2-0, advancing Core to 2-0 as well here. And yes, I share the exact same sentiment as you do, which is that
playing aggro decks. What?
Okay, wait a minute. Stop. Relax. No. I simply appreciate its existence. Okay, I'm respectfully like, you know what, you do you, boo boo, but you're not for me. You know what I mean? I'm much more of the brainstorm and the elegant dance that needs to be done. But there's a lot of power in lightning bolt off the top, dome you for lethal. I think that's very powerful. I'm not surprised to see this deck doing well. I want to see its continued success. This specific build leveraged the power of Eidolon of the Great Revel to great effect. Had a lot of consistency elements, which we don't really get to see in an aggressive style deck, but with Abundant Harvest, and then also the Surveil from Dragon's Rage Channeler, even like card advantage in the form of like Jarsil, right? So this deck looked very incredible for like a week 1, week 2, 3 draft, and I'm excited to see what the growth of this archetype looks like. One thing I will say, the last thing I'll say about this is, you know, it is lovely to see basically a pure aggressive deck. I know in Legacy, for example, we have Delver of Secrets and Daze, but a lot of things get pigeonholed into that lump of cards. This is just straight fire, right? This is we burn and we attack and we kill you dead. And it's nice to see that the format is this wide open. I like it.
Yeah. Like it's these shows, like you can decide. Especially one thing I'm noticing is we're not seeing many Uros or Okos, which generally are pretty bad when you want to be an aggressive deck. These cards in just subconsciously gain life, as well as pit blockers in the way and card advantage. And you know they're really, really good at what they do, but we're not seeing too many of them at the minute. We're seeing players kind of move towards the red black sort of strategies or the green go wide ones. Titan could probably splash blue and play these cards, but then it doesn't need to. It's very mid-rangey. We want to go over the top. So while there's like a vacuum of those cards, we're going to see these aggressive decks pop up and do extremely well, like we've seen here. I definitely want to kind of give this a run. I want to have a plan for it. I've been looking for that aggro deck, and this might just be it. And I'm quite happy about that. I think that's going to be it though for round 2. What, you know, one and done. We can be back really quickly for round 3. But what does it mean when the round's over? Well, we give you what you want, ladies and gentlemen, and we know that is Wordle. So
I said that this was I usually call this like a broadcast with a tournament, but now I might have to errata this to Wordle with Magic. You know what I mean? I love to see it. All right, we'll be back in just a second. Sorry, Will, I'm doing your job, but yeah, talk to you all in a little bit.
Yeah, mate. I'll have a break. It's fine.